Everyone someday taught about winning a lottery and the success that would come up with that. It's pretty good thinking about that even now, right? However, this is the story of the biggest lottery jackpot win in its day and how the winner turned millions into a lifelong disaster. What for many may seem like a life-changing event, for the winner of the Powerball jackpot was a punishment. Hear me out. We're talking about this almost unbelievable amount of money. But did you ever think about what would you do with them? Throw something for a big villa, something for the newest cars, and well, something for entertainment and our primal needs, if you know what I mean? Anyway, today we're going to talk about how you can prepare yourself for the surely inevitable lottery win and how one of the biggest payouts ever went up like a snap of the fingers. So everything started on a chilly evening near Christmas 2002, when quite young, about 55 years old, Geezer whizzed out into a nearby gas station and bought one lottery ticket. I mean, he was at this time worth nearly $17 million, construction entrepreneur. So why not try his luck? He bought it, brought it home, and now he needed to quickly come up with some numbers. So he randomly chose numbers and then went to watch TV, as was his usual routine. As the drawing of the numbers became closer and closer, he wasn't feeling any pressure. I mean, he had a great working business, so why would he? When the time was right, he changed the channel and just barely heard the first number. It was 5, then 14, 16, 29, and 53. At that moment, he was quite happy, got some money that he could then use for his business. However, the drawing of numbers didn't stop there. You know, he forgot about drawing the most important number in his life. It was the Powerball one, the final digit that changed his life. Now, I will give you a moment to guess the number by yourself. Do you have it? The luckiest number of one of the biggest lottery winners, Jack Whitaker, was 7. As he was comprehending his last few seconds, he couldn't believe his senses. I mean, he guessed all numbers right, and for a huge jackpot. At this time, only one question popped up in his mind. How much did I even win? However, there was no time for answering that, as his wife and his daughter jumped into his hands, all as happy as one can be. A few days later, on the 26th of December 2002, he finally got his question answered. The amount which he had won was more than $314 million. In today's money, it's more than $500 million. Can you imagine that? From living a quite honest, very comfortable life to winning this amount of money. However, his enjoyment didn't last long, as his near future wasn't as bright as the winning amount. Receiving his check, he decided that the best option for him would be to get the money right away. And here comes the first huge mistake. After all the huge taxes, fees, and other things, he from the full $314 million got only something about $113 million. So first tip, get the hundreds of millions of dollars that you won in a lottery in dozens of payments so that you will get much more. Coming back shortly after, he gave an interview where he said a very interesting sentence. Looking at it from today's view, I vow that this money won't change me. Those were his words that were broken not even a week later when he showed up. He, however, did it in a style you gotta hand it to him. He showed up at the Pink Club, a strip club, and slammed $50,000 in the cash on the bar. Quite an impressive and bold move, and this was only the start of his downfall. He continued his downside trend of coming into clubs and throwing money away. That meant that he also got into many scrapes. One of them, according to the news, is saying that late early one morning, while boozing it up at the local bar, he loudly offered one female bartender money for some privacy time. Later that weekend, proffered $10,000 to another bartender if she would pose for him in her underwear. Of course, both women turned him down. Together with this, he was also reckless and plain-spoken. He many times loudly shouted across bars where he was drinking that he had money in his brand new car, often many hundreds of thousands. And what do you think happened after? Yep, exactly. He was many times attacked. However, there was this one horrible incident that stood up between others. One time, while shouting about having $545,000 stashed in his brand new Lincoln car, allegedly 2 of the bar employees slipped a Mickey into his drink, broke into the vehicle, and stole the cash. Both of them were charged but never indicted. This, however, had a good ending because cash was found near a dumpster a few days later. But 5 months later, he wasn't that lucky because $200,000 was taken from the same car in the same parking lot. Flashing forward in time to 2018, $100,000 was heisted out of his car while it was parked in front of his house, and those were just the tip of the iceberg. Coming back to the winning day, nothing in his house has been the same since then. He was not happy with his former wife, and that's why in 2005 he filed for divorce. That, of course, took a bit of cash from himself. If only this would happen, it would still be sad, but nothing out of the ordinary for this time. The first hit came after his teenage daughter, Brandy, found the lifeless body of her close friend. The body was found a few hours after the incident, and it is said that it was from a drug overdose. This horrible incident happened in Whitaker's house and was just the beginning. That is because later that same year, his daughter Brandy, who was said to be the apple of Whitaker's eye, was discovered dead, her body wrapped in a plastic tarp behind a derelict van from undisclosed causes. Continuing with a more lightened but still sad life, Jack Whitaker thought that giving his 17-year-old granddaughter $2,000 a week and 4 new cars was a good idea, however. Of course, the only thing that resulted from this was that this grandfather's attention attracted only bad characters. Of course, what lottery winner he would have been if he hadn't come into contact with gambling. Whitaker loved it, and that too proved disastrous when Caesars Atlantic City sued him for bouncing a $1.5 million check written to cover his losses. Together with that, he drowns many millions in this addiction. In 2016, his house burned out just after he seemed to finally find inner peace. Jack Whitaker died on the 27th of June 2020. A quote from his close friend stayed and now lives as something to remind us of the consequences of winning the lottery. What happened to Jack would be humiliating to a normal person, but he felt like he was above it all as a result of his financial worth. I think his reflection would be that he was a victim of the lottery. It certainly wrecked his life. Even though none of us are likely to win this huge jackpot in our lives, Jack, through his life, can teach us many valuable lessons. From the somewhat clear lessons on why to not gamble, to the right and wrongs a person can do in his life and still go on. However, one must be said that even if this would be the only thing you will take from this video, it is that even almost infinite money doesn't have to make a person happy. I know it's cliche, but from time to time, it must be reminded so that we don't forget. If you really want to know the secret tips to getting finances under your belt, we have made this video to help you out with that. See you there.